Hello, pre-calculus students, and welcome to a couple of episodes on graphing trigonometry. Now, fortunately, this shouldn't be quite as difficult as some of the other stuff I've had you do on trig. All right, let's hop into the first one. We're finding the midline from a trig graph. Now, right here, the midline is literally just going to be the line that goes in between the function that's like right in, the middle. These should be a little easier than the trig we've had you do before. So right here, you could pretty well observe that this line flattens out. It kind of circles around y equals 0. You can see it's going up and down across the x-axis, and that's right in the middle. And that's all you have to do. I'm going through some of this stuff just so that you recognize some terminology from this by the time you get through, but it's not too difficult. Here it's also y equals 0. You shouldn't have a terribly hard time with this. This one is going to be down circling around y is -4. I gave you several of these problems, but you can see that it's not too bad. So I'm confident that you can pick this up quickly. This one looks like it could be a 0, but no, it's circling around y is -1. And that's already the first section of it done. Let's hop to the next one. We're looking at the amplitude, and that means how far above and below the midline it goes. So if the midline is 0 and it goes from -5 to 5, then you split the difference and call that 5. By the way, the other way to determine the midline, beside from eyeballing it, is to add the top to the bottom and divide by 2. So we're going to go ahead and try the amplitude here. 0 plus 4 over 2 is 2. This one is 5 minus 1 over 2, so 2. You add them and divide to get the midline. You subtract them and divide to get the amplitude. This one's going to be -1 minus -5 over 2, so 2. This one's going to be -1 minus -3 over 2, so 1. All we had to do. So up to the next one. We want the period of this, which means how often it repeats. Now this here, you'll find that it hits a peak at x equals pi, and it hits another peak at x equals 5 pi. So in between it does a full cycle, so we're going to call the period 4 pi. So you see the difference between one peak and the next peak is the period. And of course, the same will hold for any point on the cycle. So if I started at 2 pi, it would be just kind of on its way down in the middle here. And if I went to 6 pi, it would be in the same boat. That's how you can tell the difference. Though don't try to check between two zeros or two flat points, because that's going to be like half the period. You want to go ahead between two peaks just so that you're sure you've got the right point. Here, it's got a peak at 0 and a peak at pi over 2, so we're going to call it pi over 2. Here we have a peak at 5 pi over 8 and another one at pi over 8, so 4 pi over 8 is just pi over 2. Here we have 0 and 8 pi, so we're going to call it 8 pi. Here we have 3 pi over 2 and 15 pi over 2, so that's 6 pi. And then the last section on this assignment is going to be a sine function that has a midline of 2, amplitude of 5, and a period of 4 pi over 3. So we've got 5 sine. So the amplitude is a coefficient when you're writing a function. And the midline is the constant that you add. The period is 2 pi by default because you go around in the circle and you get back to 2 pi. So what we're going to do is, if it's got a period of 4 pi over 3, then it's getting there faster than it normally would. So sine x has a period of 2 pi. 2x has a period of 1 pi. So we want to get a period of 4 pi over 3. So 6x over 4 is going to be the same as 3x over 2. And I believe that should give us a period of 4 pi over 3, but let's give it a shot. The way we find the period is divide 2 pi by what you want the period to be, and we ended up with 3 over 2. amplitude of 5, 5 sine something plus 2, 2 over 5 pi over 6. So we're going to get 12 pi, or sorry, 2 pi over that. So 12 over 5x. Here we have cosine something plus 5, amplitude of 2, period of 3 over 2. So 2 pi divided by 3 over 2. So that's going to be 4 pi over 3x. Cosine is going to have a coefficient of 2 for amplitude, plus 5 for midline, and 2 pi over 2 pi over 3. So that's just going to be 3x. And this is all you need to do for this first assignment this week. So 4 sine 2 pi over 7 over 5, so 10 pi over 7, x plus 5. All we had to do. Good luck. You have got this, and have a good one.